And away from that, for emergency management to be effective, responders must share information, work in synergy, and look for early warnings. Those were the words of the Permanent Secretary, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Oluwafemi Oke-Osanyintolu, who spoke at a one-day capacity building workshop. The agency also calls on residents of Lagos to report any crisis using the emergency lines 112-767. Sarah Yeku reports.
In less than 48 hours, the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency has responded to multiple distress calls throughout Lagos, from reports on flooding and flood damage in affected areas to a tanker truck incident in the synagogue area of Ikoto. While advising Lagosians to avoid non-essential travel in areas that are most affected by flood, the agency is appealing to community leaders to use the public holidays to carry out some remedial clearing of blocked drainage to allow for free flow of water. To this end, the agency is engaging security operatives and emergency responders at this one-day workshop in Lagos.
Anything that's life-threatening issues, you must address it holistically. And this meeting is called on us to fine-tune our modus of operandi. One, believe me, I say it loud and clear, intelligence gathering, early warning is the key in emergency management, is the gateway.
It further emphasized that if any of the responders, including residents, have information and it is not shared, such information can be considered useless.
Appealing to the good people of Lagos State that inasmuch that we are doing our bits, inasmuch that we are focused, inasmuch that we abide with the rules and regulations put in place by Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu, we are ready on our own part. The citizens should do their own part.
With rising cases of insecurity, stakeholders are advising residents in Lagos to be vigilant, conduct census in their neighborhoods, and raise alarm to help security agencies apprehend criminals or persons disrupting the peace of the state.
The situation of the country today, there are issues of kidnapping, issues of bandits, issues of miscreants, traffic robbers, and all of that. We should be aware of any vehicle we are entering, and we should tell our people, our family, wherever we are going, we should let them know. And we should let them know when we get there. We should also tell them when we are coming back.
The agency wants residents to report incidents within their area to government agencies using the emergency numbers in Lagos State. Sarah Ayeku, TVC News, Lagos.
Director, Technical Programs, Nigeria Conservation Foundation, Joseph Onoja, joins me to talk more on Lagos floods. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We've seen just gory pictures of the floods, not just in Lagos, around Nigeria, and people who have been rendered homeless, some who have lost their lives and property as a result of this flood. But one of the things that everyone seems to be talking about is how every year it seems to be getting worse. And I just want to ask what factors are responsible for that.
There are various factors, from human to natural to the changes in the climate. But I will squarely put this part on the human part, which I can divide into citizens and the government. Now, on one hand, I will blame the government because this is not coming to us as a surprise. We know that at this time of the year, 2 years ago, I was on a TV channel and they asked me the same question, and I told them that we've had this incident 2 years before. So it's a continuous occurrence. It's not something that is taking us unawares, but we are not prepared for it, or we are not prepared adequately to be able to do that. That's on one hand. And on the other hand, the citizens themselves are not helping because people build in areas that are not supposed to build. We have low-lying areas that people go and build their homes, and they know that when there is rise, or when there's flash flood, or when there is too much rain, that places are flooded. In floodplains, the places are called floodplains because they will flood. Even if they are dry during the dry season, they will definitely flood. Now, coming to the government, and the responsibility on the government is to regulate such irresponsible actions by some irresponsible citizens. But the government on its own part will look the other way until something happens before everybody will start running helter-skelter and calling it an emergency, which shouldn't be an emergency in the first place. So both the government and the citizenry are culpable in this.
Mm. I mean, I was just going to say somebody definitely is approving those building permits, but I want to stay on the adaptation issues because it does seem like, because you mentioned climate change, and it does seem like what we really need now is adaptation and not really just combating the climate change itself. What should we should have put in place? And again, of course, we're going to have this next year, but what should we be putting in place in terms of adaptation?
All right. In terms of adaptation, we have to bite the bullet by destroying some homes, some houses, because some of these houses have been built on waterways, which shouldn't be in the first place. So there's no way you can adapt when you are doing the wrong things. So in trying to adapt, we must go back to the original plan. For instance, for Lagos State, I know that Lagos State has a drainage plan which has been tampered with, which has been mutilated. So that has to go. We have to go back to those areas where originally they were supposed to be drains. But now we have shopping malls, we have people's homes in those areas, which are putting other people at risk. So these places, we have to, first of all, clear all of these drainage, all of these places that needed to be drains in the first place as part of the adaptation strategies. Because there's no adaptation than going back to the original plan, because those areas were already vulnerable. Now, there are areas which are already subfilled, which were supposed to be wetlands. But because they're already subfilled and you don't absorb water, you only displace water, and water never forgets its level. It will come back to where it was. Unfortunately, when it comes back to now meet people's sitting rooms, bedrooms, and probably car parks with. So in terms of adaptation, there is need for us to do what we ought to do. Then we can start talking about adapting in terms of physical structures. We need to put physical structures in place to be able to help places that are low-lying to help, so that when there is to have barricades, so that when the flood water rises, it won't get to people's homes. And also the areas that needed to be left as floodplains should be left as floodplains. These are part of the adaptation measures that we need to put in place. Practical adaptation measures, not theory.
All right. I wish we could talk more about this weather, because everyone I know is either recovering sick or in just about already having symptoms because of the cold. But I'm told my time is up. Thank you so much for talking to us, Joseph Onoja.
My pleasure.